My name is George Lee Jr. I'm a third grade teacher for CNCA, which Camino Nuevo Charter Academies. I'm at their San Jose Cisneros campus. But I also am an after school enthusiast with my after school position with LA's Best. That's within the LAU as the school district as well. Um, I'm based off LA. I'm also, I do. I'm a sports enthusiast. I love all that. And I was first introduced to NBA math hoops and Learn Fresh. Well, I was introduced to Learn Fresh, but through NBA math hoops because that's how it all started. Through with LA's Best. It was about 2 years ago, I believe, in 2023. That's when I was asked to be a part of a meeting in collaboration with the Lakers, LA's Best, and Learn Fresh. And yeah, for the rest is history because it's been amazing ever since. But aside from being just introduced to Learn Fresh and Math Hoops, with that came being introduced to all your curriculums and all your programs that you guys have to offer. And it's been a great journey with Learn Fresh, Math Hoops, MLB, Player STEM League, MLB, the MLS STEM goals, and yeah, I've been very fortunate enough to have met Learn Fresh. Oh, definitely. Yeah, like being able to with NBA math hoops at the beginning, just being able to implement that within like the after school curriculum or the after school like an expanded learning time has been just pretty it's been very essential to our staff because they're not just learning like mathematics within STEM, but they're also like they're learning social emotional skills. They're learning a new sport through a different perspective and a different lens that I think just causes so much curiosity because with sports comes science. With sports comes the business aspect, not just like becoming the athlete themselves, and then fully like engaging with the after school staff members. And it's just like I've been able to bring that to all my school day to their instructional hours during the school day, and I feel like it's been very rewarding. And I'm very, as a teacher and educator, like I'm very proud of like not just my students, but even how staff approach this and they see like a whole different lens, and the impact it can have. Like Learn Fresh has helped me within the classroom, as in how to provide a different learning alternative uh, with the curriculums like math hoops, MLB, player assembling, and MLSM goals. We did pilot it, but MLSM goals I'm still working on that one. But just like NBA math hoops itself, like learning player analytics, and some students just what was your traditional way of teaching math like in the classroom, and just adding that opens up opportunities for students that might need that different that other strategical way of teaching math, science, or whatever it is. And then just like in general, like the social impact and like within our community, very grateful that Learn Fresh also partners with like these big organizations, within like the sports world, and that's given us the opportunity to provide students, especially here like in Central LA, like downtown area, the Koreatown, like West LA, South LA, providing these students an opportunity to one, learn math in the afternoon, learn science. Two, learn about maybe their favorite sports team. Being in LA, we have the Clippers, we have the Lakers, with like the MLB player STEM league, we have like the Dodgers. So learning all that, and then on top of that, with the partnerships that you guys create and you guys bring to us as well, like with the Lakers organization and the Clippers, like being able to send students, staff, and even their family members to games. And it's that's very those are some core memories that are being created because for many of our students, although they live down the street from these stadiums, they still can't, sometimes they don't go to these games because it is very expensive. Believe me, I'm a fan. I've seen the tickets and the prices throughout the years. So to me, excuse me, sorry about that. But to me, that's one of the yeah, that's also been one of like the biggest um, like some of the most joyous moments, seeing the students, like the excitement they have after school to play the game, and then to see how their efforts have with the partnerships that you guys also bring, gives them an incentive aside from like the joy of learning, right? It's an incentive to like really like leave their neighborhoods and go see these some of these teams and these players that are on the cards actually like in real time and in real life within yeah at a live game. So yeah, I think since it started last school year, this year, oh my, like the amount of interest forms and after because in after school obviously we operate with so many schools, like there's so many schools that LA's Best has. I think we're like at about 200 215 now, somewhere around somewhere along those lines in elementary, right? Last year, I decided like I was like, oh, we'll open it up to 21 schools. That's in the agreement that we had with the Lakers, with you guys, with your team, with Steven and Rebecca. They're amazing, by the way. And I was like, all right, let's do that. And then just the way like from doing it in the afternoon only, and then working with multiple sites, right? So it's like about 20 students a pop, a site with one staff member that led it at each school, and just kind of like how am I going to go about this and making sure that everyone's implementing it the correct way, the students are learning the full curriculum, and we're able to showcase this, to not just like the students, but like the school day staff from afternoon, like that during the day, to all the other students that didn't want to join the club at the time, to their families, and then to like the overall community, and then how does that like go into like the overall like community of LA's Best. And from one year to another, like when I did the entrance forms for this school year, oh man, like we got over like 100 sites want interested, because we also shared what happened in that year. We had the Lakers regional tournament that was hosted by them, and I think it's Commerce Bank, I believe. I forget the other like partnership, and it was hosted here out in Carson at the Boys and Girls Club. And then we had the Lakers, provided tickets to take students on a field trip to an actual Laker home game. And then on top of that, then we were able to see Deliza, be chosen for the 2024 NBA Math Hoops Global Championships in New York this past year. And that in itself, just like that's I've never seen this much like positivity through a curriculum being offered like in after school. Provide so many opportunities for so many students, and then that's what caused this year to be like everybody wanted to join. And then over the summer we did MLB of last summer. We were able to do the MLB Players STEM League program, and that led to Valenzuela going to the Globals this year. And then like just like if you see the impact, then we got Alexander got chosen from Aragon Elementary, another LA's Best student. And with that one, principal was there. We did a whole little like a celebration to announce it, because now we're like okay, like it's happened before, like we gotta make this one, like this announcement bigger. And like even the school day, principal, teachers came down, his teacher came to be all part of that. So like it's created like partnerships, and it's built more community within the community, because like I mean you in the same space, but you'll be surprised like how distant instructional day staff and personnel are with after school staff and personnel. It's not like that everywhere, but it happens. And I think aside from the learning, like we're building that bridge like within a school community, and that's like the most important thing, because when you operate with every team from the morning all the way to afternoon, like even like the ones that stay here the latest are the custodial staff, the night crew, even trickles down to that. And you guys all, and your main purpose and your main objective is to make sure we're serving the students, whether it's feeding them, it's keeping them safe, teaching them academics. But if everyone's in collaboration, no matter your title, and you work at the school, it just creates for like an amazing learning space. And I've seen it happen, at schools that before in my past when I first started, just being a site coordinator after school, and then now like with NBA Math Hoops, just because how much more opportunities it brought to students, and I made sure that everyone knew what was happening. Like I'm sending emails to the whole program, site-wide, all staff, and just so everyone can see like, yo, this is what's happening in the afternoon. And then, but this year, aside from that and being prepared and like seeing all like everything we did this school year in the afternoon, like I actually brought it into my classroom this time, and I introduced it to my third grade students. And what an amazing year. And I try bringing. I also being at a new school, trying to convince these teachers like, y'all should try this. Like, trust me. Like, we can add it like for fun Fridays. I can even run it for you. Like, if we switch our lunch times, I'll come in and then I'll just introduce it. Well, I was able to have one teacher, join me, but now what they saw with the opportunities that I brought my third graders, and even like I have the data from like their diagnostics in math at the beginning of the school year when I had them, which only a couple came out of grade level, and I had like 50% below like one grade level or two and a half below. This year, man, I was like, man, all my class moved up a grade level and a half or more
Wow.
in like their diagnostic scores, and that's the data. And although like obviously there's a lot of factors that can contribute to that. I don't know who their teacher was last year. I also don't like, I came in with a different approach, maybe my unorthodox way of being a teacher during the day. And my experience, also made them very comfortable, but also I'm very passionate about like basketball and just understanding the sport. And like, obviously like I'm a big Laker fan, and being able to show them, NBA math boost, and then the way like that I saw them compete at the regional tournament, because we did for being at charter school, we were with the Clippers. When they saw middle schoolers, they're like, Michelle, you never told us we were gonna go against middle schoolers. I'm like, it's okay. Like you'll do fine. I was like, it's a game, and we're here for the experience, and like to meet new people, and like see where how far this math curriculum that you guys were first kind of hesitant to do and learn, how far it's taking you throughout the whole year. So yeah, like this year in itself, and just everything, like just kind of like doing it throughout the whole day, like from the day from my instructional time as a teacher in the morning all the way to the afternoon with LA's Best. So yeah, I've seen a lot of positive growth, a lot of more interest forms from staff, and yeah, everyone wants to do NBA math boost and LA's Best now, so that's pretty cool.
That's super cool, man. I appreciate all the work that you've done to advocate for the program, and then it's congrats on the success that you've had with your students. And we're honored to just be a part of that, I'm inspired by the work that you've done to reach so many sites. Like LA's Best is a huge organization, so you've done incredible work to share this.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's been cool, like even being partnering with you guys, like when like Lenzel, being a part of the All-Star Educator team, like just when I can support them, like if they need help in anything, like I'm here, I got you. Like what can I do? Like whether it needs to be if it's play, like, or making sure that we've got a program. It's like, call me, I got you. We'll make sure that we'll get a group of. But yeah, other than that, like it's been, even for my own growth, like it's been amazing, and I'm very, 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 very grateful for everything that's happened since I've met all you guys at Learn Fresh. One I didn't share was I'm not trying to be selfish either, but I didn't mention it. It was when I was chosen for the 2024 Outstanding Educator Award, and then I ended up going with you guys to the Global Championships for the NBA Math Hoops in New York. That in itself, it's a very it's a core memory for myself, and one that I'm very prideful, because it's still credit to my students and you guys. Like and like LA's Best more than anything. Like I'm an after school enthusiast, and I will always advocate for after school, because without after school there isn't a Mr. Lee in the classroom, and that's facts. That's what made me make the decision of what I'm going to study towards in college, while I was in college, because I had no path at the beginning of college, but yeah, that in itself, I remember, I think I talked to Rebecca and Steven about this, how my dad, my mom, they worked at the Dodger Stadium at the Staples Center for the Levy restaurant and Lexus Club, and that's like the club members restaurants inside the PR section. You got to be a club member and everything, like kind of like where some players and their families, that's what they go eat before the game and whatnot. But that's how they that was how they were able to make their income to raise me and my siblings out here in Cape Town. And they started as bussers, and eventually, like over the years, became waiters. So they really got to meet a lot of cool people, a lot of Hall of Famers like Magic Johnson, Luke Robitaille, and and then when I would get hooked up with tickets, I would go, and then I got to meet these people too. And then, but aside from that, it's like my parents' job, right? And then every time I go visit my parents, and even as an adult, when I go when I will go to games, I'll see if they could get me in just so I could go say hi to them. And obviously lines are a lot shorter there, so I could get my food quicker and everything and whatnot. But my dad always said, like, being seen, they were there since well, now the crypto.com arena, but since like that building was established by AEG, when it was a Staples Center. And I forget when that was, like 1990 something, but they've been working there since the beginning. And so my dad and my mom have always seen games, but my dad more, he was more into like these games, but he will always tell me, he's like, I always, like, as I became an adult, went to college, started working with students, started becoming an educator full on, became a teacher. Every once in a while, he would tell me, he's like, why don't they ever, how come you're never down there? When they do this teacher appreciation stuff or educator night, and like, they give you a shout out and you're like in the court. And I'm just like, I don't know, I'll get there one day though. And so when I got that, when I was told to join that meeting while I was teaching at my other school, I remember it was with like the board members. And when I was told that I've been chosen and awarded for the outstanding educator award last year. The first thing that like I thought about was like my dad. He passed away first, and he's the reason why like I moved back to LA after he passed. And then that's what actually brought me back home to teach, like in my like neighborhood where I grew up at. So I'm grateful for that. But that was like the first thing, and I was just like, dang, I did it. Like I fulfilled his the one thing that he will always talk to me about, like I guess like in a laughing way and everything, but it made me think about that. And like I have my outstanding educator like trophy that I received at Globals last year. It's right there next to his like picture that I have like in my dining room. Like it's there because when I told my mom the same thing, and she was like, she laughed because she was like, man, he will bug you a lot about that, so that's one of my most greatest memories since I've started partnering with Learn Fresh. But that's all credit to the students, the staff that I worked with, and even like and you guys, just like really allowing me to like not provide this to a bunch of to all these different sites and at a school level, and something that I'm just like very. Yeah, that's a great memory. Sorry if I got a little bit choked up, but it's often, that's one of my favorite memories. It's just like that moment when I was chosen and I just thought about my dad. I was like, man, it happened, so thank you guys for that.
Thank you. That's super special, and I know he is super proud of you, man. That's awesome. I love hearing the stories of just how it impacts you all as teachers too, not just students. I think a lot of our communication and a lot of our focus often goes to the kids, but it's super gratifying to know that we're like helping you all fulfill your career goals too. So
and in reality, it's all because of the kids. Like at the end of the day, like even that day that announced, like I won. That was a core memory for my students, because my students I'm really good at whatever class, wherever I've taught at. I always get all the students, and I convince the parents to sign the students up for after school program, no matter what. I give them like data and everything. I'm like, this is why it's important. So my students at my previous school, they used my classroom in the afternoon, right? So I was there actually doing my meeting while they were doing homework, and they were hearing it. And I told them, I was like, you guys, it's fine, y'all could, you guys could you're just like, like you guys could just give me the space, because I forget what was happening, but there was like no spaces at that school. So I was like, I'll just do it. And then the afternoon staff member at the time, Miss Carla, she was great. She's like, I got you, Mr. Lee. And I'm like, all right, cool. But then when I got announced, I think I shared it with all them, and then they all were like, yeah, like, and they knew about MBA math because I was teaching it to them somewhat during that school year, but that was where I was teaching bilingual, so I have so much limited time. Like the time with that, adding that to the curriculum, but they knew about it, right? And so even that with them, like they all yelled, and they're like, I was, I'm gonna show you guys everything that I do when I go to New York and all that. So yeah, even they were a part of it. So it was a good moment. So definitely like like some challenges, like you kind of mentioned it, like just like all this, like systemic, like pressures that are happening to especially the community that you work with, and how to like leverage those everything that comes with, like social, emotional, safety. What are you going to do like to make sure that like, as an educator, like that you're providing that, that classroom climate, that environment where it's like, although like it's in the back of everyone's, mind, like, having to deal with these things, like how am I gonna be able to make sure that my students can like, kind of like refocus and distract them from from what's happening outside our classroom walls. And I think like just in general, because when you come into a classroom, like, it's like, oh, it's a learning space and everything, but the everything that comes with the classroom, aside from what's already happening, like, beyond the classroom doors, is like, I have to take a test today, I have to like, demonstrate that I understand this, I have to learn a lot today. And I think for me, being able to implement learn fresh curriculums, like, and one being math hoops is my main one. It's been able to give students like something to like really look forward to, where it's just like, it's full on like, yes, we're gonna be doing math, but like we're gonna be like yelling when we hit a three, we're gonna be trying to beat the shot clock. And that's like the, that's the joy that I see. That's and then that's what I want to do. Like I wish, like I didn't have to teach like the curriculum by the book, but it's obviously it's a mandatory thing. I'm just able to like ensure that like if I whatever time I need to give up, like as in for myself, like when it comes to strategically planning and making sure I embed what Learn Fresh has provided, because I've seen the outcomes and the positivity and the joy it brings to students, staff, and just everyone all around that understands like the programs. I'm going to do it. I'm going to make sure that it's there. And I think that within itself has helped relieve anxiety, has helped students understand that there's no one way of learning a subject. You just have to try to find other ways to make it not just appealing to yourself, but where it's more understanding for yourself. And and then it also opens them up to like a whole new world of things, of students that are like not like that never considered sports or understanding what statistics are. That's like one of the things that we're providing, and it's helping me face these bigger challenges that are happening outside my classroom walls. And we help like make that we make our classroom that space where it's like, this is where curiosity helps you achieve different goals. This is where initially will teach you one way, but he's also gonna bring in like 1,000 other ways of how to also do this, because it's needed. I didn't just learn one way. I had to do a lot of other extra curriculars to really fully understand like my own like journey in education when I was in grade level school. And I just think it's helps them navigate like these systemic pressures that are just exist within a school, and then within like the community that these students live in. And then that's where it's that's where it's going to be a challenge every year. You don't know everyone's story. The goal is just to allow them to try to trust you as an educator, and then you can also, as an educator, you build that trust with them, and you do it in in different ways. That's why I say like my teaching strategies are very unorthodox. I follow everything by the book, but I'm also going to lead with compassion before like all these academics are going to be taught. And one way of leading with compassion is like a lot of with my own things that interest me. And then Learn Fresh, having basketball, baseball, soccer, has given me that opportunity to like express myself as an educator and show these students that just a different world of academics, and it helps I think alleviate a lot of those pressures.
Amazing. The point that you just made about being able to express yourself as an educator is such an interesting one. And I think that if we can help with that with anyone, that's such an amazing thing to be able to deliver. So I really
Oh,
appreciate that.
yes, definitely. I think if like I've always wanted to like, like how can I like teach in elementary, like, aside from I coach basketball as well. Like, I coach middle school girls this year, but like how can I bring that into like the classroom setting? And aside from like, I've always like shown students like highlights of games, and then just for basic math, right? I will ask them, oh, what's the difference in score right now? Like, because in highlights, they go through the game pretty quick. So like I'll pause like the screen and be like, what's this difference? But I need a full sentence. Oh, the difference is, for example, I'll just put the two teams up right now. The Pacers are actually losing by 5 because they have 90 points and Oklahoma has 95. So the difference is 5. Like things like that. I've always done that. And then, but when I'm, started learning about Learn Fresh, when I met Learn Fresh, and then, the collaboration with understanding NBA math who's first, I'm like, this is what I needed, like that, that guidance. It's like you guys help open that door for me. Like I can teach, like, I could teach, like, like I could be myself as a teacher through this curriculum, because maybe I would have figured it out like later on, but I'm like, oh no, like this is how I can do it through your curriculum. And that's, I think that's very I'm very grateful for that, just because, yeah, like you don't know how many other educators are out here like that love sports as well, and maybe they were in that same they're teaching it a certain way, but it's like, hey, like they Learn Fresh over here has a curriculum that, teaches sports analytics, in a through a board game, and through basketball and real life, like real life statistics, with real life players. And it's like, has a full curriculum, like things like that. Like, again, I think that's like, it's important to help adults, educators understand that, like, that you could bring this into the classroom, and it helps. And I think like the majority of the staff that I always get that are interested are like staff that, like, at first thought it was like a physical activity, which it is, because we have the NBA Math Hoops live kit now, which I did with my students. But they're still too young. Like their strength isn't there.
Yeah, yeah.
3-pointer. But even like that, they think that and then once I show it to them, and like I really make help them understand, like, the bridge of both, the academic side, social, and then like the basketball aspect of it. Yeah, it's helped them, like, even like, evolve and like develop as educators, because something that they're interested, like they love if they're interested in basketball, maybe math wasn't your biggest your favorite subject, which it wasn't for me, but in this way, it's like maybe this is how they also needed it to be taught to them when they were kids, and now they're finding it through you guys. And I think yeah, it's a great opportunity for both the educator and the student and the community as a whole, to be honest.